Okay, it is now 6 o'clock. I'd like to go ahead and open this. This hammer could be used tonight for these two to hit me in the head if I do something wrong. So this is my first rodeo sitting in the middle here. Ty Bringhurst is not here this evening. He's out of town. And Justin Sipp, who should be sitting in this chair, has been sick for several days. So we need to be mindful of him and hope that he gets well soon. We'll go ahead and start the meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance by Councilwoman Peart, and then I will go ahead and offer a prayer.
Please repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're grateful at this time to bow our heads to you in prayer. Grateful for the opportunity we have to meet this evening. Grateful most especially for those that have attended this meeting in person and via YouTube. We're grateful for their participation, their comments, and their involvement in city affairs. We pray that we might also be mindful of the opinions of others, that we'll be respectful and be understanding, even when there are differences that we share with one another. We are so grateful for the moisture that we've received here. Our valley is looking greener, and we're grateful for that. We're grateful for all those who live here and for the good neighbors that they are to one another. We pray that we might be mindful of the needs of the city, that the decisions that we make will be in sync with what is best for our city. And these things we give you thanks for and ask in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, we will start with approval of the agenda order. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda order. Second? By Rachel. Okay, thank you. Are there any disclosures and declarations of conflict from city council mayors? City council members and or the mayor who isn't here? Okay.
Mayor, I need to disclose that two of the agenda items affect Firelight Development, and there's a conflict there with that and myself.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Now we need a consent agenda. Please review the possible review minutes from August 25th, special city council meeting, September 7th, business meeting, September 9th, special city council meeting, September 13th, special city council. Those that have had an opportunity to review that.
I motion.
Comment here on August 20, item number D. Comment here on August 20, item number D-2. There's a table in the appendix. The letters PR were put in there. And that's the only change that I noticed. Second. Oh, I'm
With the
sorry.
changes,
With the
with the approve with the
Thank you.
changes.
Second. Thank you. Okay, we will now have a presentation by Randon from Info West. And I'm going to turn some time over to him.
Oh, expenditures. Did you?
Oh, I'm sorry,
Number
did I?
2.
Oh, review and possible approval of city expenditures. I don't think I saw that.
It's on this
Oh, financial
financial.
reports, okay. I'd like to table that. I'd move that and table that. Second, okay,
You can use it.
thank you. Sorry, I omitted that. Okay, Brandon, you're up.
I'm going to join Randon. My name's Kelly Niver, West.
A little background on it. Maybe that's Karen and I. So we've been approached obviously by lots of different info, obviously InfoWest now tonight. We've been approached by, TDS for franchise agreements, always the private Parkway wanted to be there. We had Utopia that came and did a presentation about bringing fiber and wanting a franchise agreement. And so InfoWest is doing the same thing. So that's what they're doing.
So no decision is needed. It's a
Yeah,
presentation
it's a
only.
presentation only, it's information.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the main point is we would like to submit for approval for a franchise agreement with the city, and that's kind of the main point. We send in a really effort of time and saving. I think we can skip page 18 or 19 where we talk more specifically about fiber. This is mostly just, getting to know the companies that support us. We've been around for a long time. This talks about our physical infrastructure that we've gotten that has a ring in the Western United States. Connections, providing service to our network with multiple carriers. This talks about a little bit about our wireless infrastructure. We've got one of the largest wireless networks in the Western United States. It brings broadband services to central and southern. And then this is kind of where I wanted to focus on. Right now, we currently, with our wireless, offer about 95% of the value in our wireless service. And we have future plans to expand additional parts of that. We can do technology is changing all the time. But the next slide talks a little bit about fiber. We've got fiber to home crews and we service developments. We have our own local crews that engineer those networks. We open trenches, we drill, we lay conduit and fiber. This is kind of what, if you look at this slide, this shows the parkway and it also shows the downtown area. Our plan is to come in, not just build the parkway, but our plan is to come and build out the downtown fiber. You can see right here, which is to private funds and not put the taxpayers on the hook for this as well. This type of network would create a redundant loop, which would also enhance the reliability. A little bit about our financial detail. InfoWest is a multi-million-dollar company. We have zero debt. We also have access to millions of dollars in capital. So from a financial standpoint, it would make a lot of sense to approve a franchise agreement. We've got the resources to go that far. With the franchise agreement, we're planning to expand into our network. Like I mentioned before, we're using our own money, private investment, and we pay potential risk on the tax. Like request the franchise agreement to be considered. Actually, we've got franchise agreements for St. Louis City, Washington City, Cedar City, Union, soon to be Hurricane, Richfield. So we've got a lot of franchise agreements with a lot of cities. And the franchise agreement that we've submitted is the same franchise agreement we've got with those.
And we know one of the biggest things with that is she wants to go serve every president you guys have here so that they can have the needs met. And I think we can do that. I think that's something that we want to do and that's something we can do locally. And that's something that we would kind of have.
So with the fiber, you're wire, is that's what's going
That's
to
the
happen?
preferred method of doing it. Obviously, there's infrastructure on poles and those kind of options as well. But traditionally, we want to put it down. It's going to be a lot better infrastructure for us if we want that.
Where does the wireless come into play then?
Right now, we have wireless towers up on us right here, and a couple of locations that shoot wireless over the valley. So if you've got line of sight to one of those towers, you can hear our wireless there.
But the ultimate goal is basically to go fiber optic everywhere?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have a lot of customers here in the valley. So ultimately, we like to go fiber, and then over time, we transition to wireless.
Okay, so you're not,
Wireless is a good tool to get more rural and more remote. Once we stretch our fiber out, we'll transition.
Okay, so ultimately it'll be a fiber network then is what you're looking at doing.
Yeah, we're a local company. We want to invest in our areas and stuff. We feel like this investment is here and there, and to be able to serve our community for not just now, but for many years.
So Afton mentioned there were other companies involved. What gives you a competitive edge over the others?
We are a local company, and that really is where we shine. If there's any type of problem or issue or customer service type of thing, we're right down the road. We're right next door. You call us. We have fiber crews here. A lot of the other companies aren't necessarily located here. They have crews that manage the network. Half of our company is dedicated to our customer service only. Those are network crews, fiber crews. Those are all, we heavily invested in those. So the product and services is really large.
Is St. George exclusive with you? They're probably not.
They're not.
Okay.
In fact, Mill City really, I think,
Is
as far as cities
exclusive,
go,
yeah.
are exclusive.
Okay.
St. George, I think, right now has 4 franchise agreements that are active.
And most cities will have TDS and CenturyLink, and then there's
Right.
usually us. And
This
so
would
there's
be
even 3, if not, there could be
A supplemental choice.
It's really
then
good because
for-
it promotes competition and better service. We've got a couple of players out there that can compete better for them.
Gary, we currently have a franchise agreement with TDS and CenturyLink.
And we'd also been approached by South Central, and he was saying that one of my concerns, like first met him, and one of my concerns was when we were looking at going through Utopia, which is a northern Utah community that is made up of municipalities, and they did a demonstration, which the city of Santa Clara has started with them, and Spring Grove, considering going with them. But the issue so when South Central approached us, one of the issues that we were trying to work through of how it would work is that for South Central, they wanted to come in and they wanted to go to specific areas of the city, right? Obviously, the Parkway, all of the new roads. What I was concerned about is I said, look, if we're going to do this, we need this something that will benefit everybody in the city, right? I don't want to just cater to whoever is new. We want to make sure that whoever's already living here gets the perks of this too. One of the things with South Central is they couldn't guarantee that people clear from Anderson Junction could get that service, right? So the city would have to pay to build that part out. They would pay to build their infrastructure. The city would have to pay to build out Anderson Junction or some of these other very remote areas or where they couldn't find road trench and things like that. And so then when Utopia came into their demonstration, they were like, well, we're a little bit different. We guarantee that we will bring fiber to every home in Denver. That's what we guarantee, and then we're the backbone of that, and then we have, 10 to 15 different providers that citizens can choose. So that was one thing we really liked about Utopia. One of the things we didn't like about Utopia is that within 2 years, we have to have 40% of Toberville using that, where the city could potentially have to backstop that, right, and make up that user. So that was kind of like, and so they've approached us. They've said that they could potentially bring into everyone. We know we already have TDS, we already have CenturyLink. So this would be in addition to that. The main thing that we're trying to accomplish is we want to serve all residents, and of course we want to so that's kind of the presentation there.
And to follow up on that, we believe we can do that for them without having to have the taxpayers back that bond, which is the other model. We believe we can actually accomplish that by working together. If the city would back us as a partner, not an exclusive partner, but a partner, in helping us accomplish that goal, we feel very confident we can do that.
Let me ask you this, help those on the council and staff understand, is CenturyLink, obviously a franchise to someone like TDS or CenturyLink, it's the right to be in our right of way, they can put their trenches in lines. But is their service, are they full fiber optic? And I didn't, that was not here.
Legacy copper.
Yeah, it would be a copper. And our assistant city manager would know that.
I think
Everything new goes in a bit.
Okay. Yeah, well, Okay.
What you might find out is if we bring fiber in, you might find them, oh, you better bring fiber in. Start with
Yeah.
a little bit more.
But just so you're understanding, I think what they're proposing is a full fiber network where we don't have that. It's either, it's a legacy copper, a cable-based service right now through those people.
And that's where Apple makes a good point, because some of these older areas that have the coax and copper, they don't touch these areas because they have all the customers in there, they don't have to do anything to upgrade. Once they find out another company like us comes in and says, hey, we're gonna put fiber throughout, they start running like crazy going, okay, we need to start upgrading this infrastructure. And they're doing that in St. George in areas. And it's been great because competition, it's gonna keep the price low, things like that. And so growth-wise, it's healthy and it's all gonna stay local, which is what we want to do. So,
Wonderful. And your name is?
I'm Randy.
Randy runs our fiber.
Oh, this is Randy.
I'm
Okay.
Randy, this is Kelly.
And I'm the president.
Okay, very, very good. All right, thank you very much. Any other comments?
No, that was,
Where are you guys headquartered?
St. George. We started in 1994. We've been around almost 30 years. Any other questions?
Thank you.
We're good. Thank you for your time. You're welcome to stay, or if you have a schedule elsewhere, then we won't be offended if you step out.
First of all, we had your wireless, please, what's the cost of it?
What we've done in our other areas is we try to keep the price very similar or the same what you're paying now. That's it. We found that some of the utopia models, those other models, price is actually higher for those because they're making up set rates that we have to pay. But with us, we can actually accommodate our customer base to help them transition. Not everybody can afford $70 or $80 a month. So we're going to keep that price down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Are you checking the batteries? Okay. We're about prepared to go into the public forum. Yes.
One more. I wanted to ask really quick about the actual franchise agreement. We did submit that. I just wanted to see what the next steps might be for us.
Yeah, I was just looking at it this morning, and yeah, I'd like to review it and compare it to the other franchise agreements that we have, and we'll give you some feedback, directions, if that's something that the council wants to do. It seems to me like the proposal, with its no cost to the city and upfront, then why not foster competition? Kind of standard 3.5% franchise fee. So,
Yeah, the state mandates that.
yeah, it is mandated by,
So we'll continue to work with that.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Microphone good? Thank you. Okay, before we open the forum, I would just like to remind everyone that you need to state your name and your address. And Ruth has a timer going. Is that going to be? So you'll see it here.
We can't
You'll know if you're pushing your left. And, yeah, and it's a 3-minute time limit. And the one issue that was brought up the last time, and I just would like to remind you, if you ask us a question during your presentation, then we can't answer. This is an opportunity for us to hear you. And unfortunately, if you're going to say, Gary, why did you just change the zoning on agriculture in the entire city? And I'll just have to sit here and smile and say, thank you for your comment. So please don't feel offended if we're not able to respond to you. So I would like to, we'd love to hear from you. And I just want you to understand, we're just unfortunately not able to to respond. If you'd like to stop one of us after the meeting's over with, then we'll be happy to talk with you during that point as well.
Just for clarity from the council, last meeting, they said no more public forum. So we're now back to what we used to.
We're back, we realize that that's part of our ordinance that we had with our what,
It
Did
was
we
part of the council policies and procedures.
Yeah, it was part of our policies and
Necessary
procedures.
public forum.
Make sure that everybody's on the same sheet.
we're on the same sheet now, so.
I think the idea, the concern is that if the council is responding to every point of
It's not
public
on the
input,
agenda.
it's not on the agenda. It's like we're having a discussion on different topics that have never been published to the rest of the residents, and so they haven't had the ability to be present and comment too. So it's a listening process. It's a way of information getting conveyed to the council in a very simple format at each of our meetings.
And if somebody needs to just participate on YouTube, then they're welcome to submit a letter if they'd like to, and we could go ahead and read the letter as well. So, do we have anyone here that would like to make a public statement?
I submitted a letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that again, my preference is the submitted letters, if it's directed to the council, we should be having the clerk or recorder forward them to council and put them in your SharePoint folder. I don't know if we want to engage in reading every letter that gets sent
Right.
and for purposes of like being in the council record or something like that.
Dan Catlin, 821 South Peachtree Drive. I'd like to thank you for bringing back the public forum. Sending a letter, and this is before I knew you had the public forum back. This is just my opinion, and we all know opinions are like, everybody's got one. I wrote, to whom it may concern, at a special city council meeting held on September 16, 2022, it was stated that Mayor Ellsworth had resigned, followed by the reading of his letter of resignation. In his letter, he stated that after helping get the city of Tokerville in the great position they are today, he felt comfortable with resigning to take a new job. Although Mayor Ellsworth did disclose in the previous council meeting that he was receiving a consulting fee from a developer currently in negotiations with the city, there was no time during this meeting of the special city council meeting any mention that the Salt Lake Tribune was investigating and reported that the Mayor Ellsworth had been under a consulting contract with the developer since August of 2020, being paid $2,000 a month. This contract was in effect while he was a member of the city council, voting on items related to developer, as well as mayor setting the agenda for the city and having significant influence over the city council. Questions had previously been raised about then Council Ellsworth's personal involvement regarding other projects while serving as a voting member of the city council. In addition, questions were raised about the city attorney's firm representing the developer and being a possible conflict of interest. Where it was the highest ranking official in the city of Tokerville government that appears to have been unethical in receiving payment for consulting on items he voted on as a city council member, championed as mayor, it is difficult to believe that this happened without the knowledge of any of the city council members he worked so closely with. Having this in mind and keeping in mind that this in no way an accusation, has there been any internal or external investigation to assure the citizens of Tokerville that no other members of the city council, planning commission, or city employees have received payments, gratuities, or services from developers that were or currently or in the process of proposing the development of projects of the city? The problem that occurs when there is or appears to be corrupt action on the part of a government employee is that it not only taints that employee, but also those who work with that employee. Simply stating that we asked everyone and do not see any further problems is most likely not enough to set the minds of the citizens of Tokerville at ease. Okay. It is in my opinion the city of Tokerville should take decisive steps to avoid any continuation or appearance of continuation of any unethical actions or on part of the city employees or contractors. As part of this action, I'd strongly suggest that someone from outside the city current council, planning commission arena be put but who does have basis and knowledge of city affairs, be put in as acting mayor until such a new mayor can be elected. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Dan.
Hi, my name is Kathy Bentz, and 370 West Shangri-La. And I just wanted to say that along the lines with what was just said, that I would hope that it becomes an agenda item that we can talk about, especially after this last Salt Lake Tribune article that I looked at. I think we all want to be assured that there isn't further questions about who could be benefiting from the development in the city. So I think of as new residents, but actually we've been here pretty long now. We've been here close to 4 years. And when we came here, we started hearing about all the development everywhere. There was going to be development. It was just going to be this huge thing. And everybody I talked to was sad and hated it, and hated the bypass, hated the development that was going to go along the bypass. Everyone hated all this. And I kept thinking, why is this happening then? If everybody in the city hates this, why is it happening? And I know I don't know everybody, but I know enough people that I have not run into anybody that's excited about the development. So that gives us further reasons to want to make sure that this is, all this development is happening not because someone is going to benefit. And so I would just encourage this to become an agenda item that we get to hear that addressed somehow. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Anyone else?
Dawn Everett, 137 South Ash Street. I'm interested in Dan's report. Can I give him the rest of my time?
I think Dan was down to 2 more sentences.
Yeah, we'll have to-
Once again,
Okay.
you asked me a question and shame on me, I answered it.
Okay, then I'm through.
Thank you so much.
I don't know if you can read it.
Would you like to read the remainder of that?
No, I don't have my glasses. Maybe you can borrow some.
DC Young, 1195 Southwest Road. The last sentences that Dan had to say were, "I'm sure that many others will have their own point of view regarding the situation and how to best go forward. Thank you for taking time to read and consider my concerns and suggestions for a path forward." And signs that regards, Dan Catlin. I'm sorry that the lady that thinks that nobody wanted the bypass thinks that everybody in Tokerville is against the bypass. The bypass, in my opinion, and I've stated this since I moved here in 2007, is going to be the thing that keeps Tokerville alive. Because without that, there's no way that we can offer the services and the support and the necessary infrastructure needed to support us in our lifestyle the way we want it, like other cities around us are doing. And therefore, Tokerville had to change, and the bypass gives us the opportunity to make that change. Preserve the old town, preserve our heritage, and yet continue to grow. So I am 100% in favor of the bypass. What I am not in favor of is that we're tainted by an issue. Actually support the idea that it would be best to have the interim mayor be someone that is not on the council, just to show that there's a clean record, and we need to show that that slate is clean, and that the investigations into ethics relative to the city officials be complete. Thank you.
I believe that,
My name is Ray Bentz. I live at 370 West Shangri-La, and I would like to address some comments on the bypass and some of the new construction in the town. I think a lot of the citizens, what they're concerned about is that with all this new construction, there's also some caveats to that. Water water starts going down. We're having water shortages now. Anytime you build a city, you've got crime. That's why one of the reasons we moved here is we thought we were moving to a small town. And so there's also some concerns about what this means to put that bypass there. For example, now we find out that there are going to be hotels there with bars in them. And these are things that most citizens don't know about, the things that go along with this. And so though a bypass road may be needed, I know originally the bypass road was going to be put on the other side of the hill, so the citizens of Tokerville would not see it. And for some mysterious reason, now it's on this side of the hill. So though we need one, and I understand the bypass is because of the state, either that or we were going to lose a bunch of Pioneer homes on Tokerville Boulevard. And so we really had no choice. But there are caveats to, if any of you have lived in big cities, crime goes up when you bring in more people. Now we got to think about fire and police. Taxes go up. Taxes never go down. They never go down when you build. And so this is not what a lot of people wanted. And again, the bars and the nightclubs that are maybe associated with that, that's not something we wanted in this town. So there are both sides to this issue, and there's some good and there's some bad. But I do understand why some people are concerned about this. Our neighbor next door said, we moved here specifically to get away from the development they had in Reno. And now we feel like we're walking right back into it. And so, but that's all my comments. I would like to sing. No, I'm not going to. Anyway, I just have a few minutes. So thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Jake Peart, 1661 South Chaparral Drive. I just better state that I believe in free market, and the market will govern all these things that we try and control way better than we can. And developers have the right to develop their land. The property rights give them that right, and we should stay out of their business, and they should pay for it. And we shouldn't get government officials involved in the intermingling of money. And I don't like that our attorney still represents Firelight.
Thank you. Last call. Okay, we will move on from our public forum and move into the business section. Tokerville Parkway updates, first on the agenda. Bob is not here to give us that update, so we will ask Afton if you're prepared to.
Yeah, Bob Lamoureux was going to come give the update on the Parkway, but he was unable to come tonight. So we just had a brief chat. Bid package A, we're still planning on that section being completed by June. Bid package B has been advertised. That we've had several people request to be on the bidders list. We've got probably, I think, 9 or 10 now that are on that bidders list. We are going to have plans have been sent to all of them. Everybody that's requested them anyway. We are going to have a mandatory pre-bid meeting on the 27th at 2 p.m. So if you see people around town or things like that, that's what they're doing, is they're going to have a mandatory pre-bid meeting on site. So they'll meet here on that day, the 27th at 2 p.m. And they'll go to the site location. Bid package B is the part below the cemetery, the Shangri-La portion. And so that mandatory pre-bid meeting will be on the 27th at 2 p.m. And then on the 11th, here again, just like we did with bid package A, on October 11th at 2 p.m., we will have the bid opening, and that will be televised, or the public can attend if you'd like. We'll obviously advertise that. And then we will open the bids at that time and see what that is. We've been waiting on a permit, on a nationwide 404 permit. We've heard back from the Army Corps. We think we should have that next week. So hopefully we'll have, that's the last permit that we need, really. So we're just waiting on confirmation from that. So that's kind of the update on the Parkway. We'll see what the bids are and then go from there, awarding the project and dates and see what they're coming up with. So that's the update on the Parkway.
Gary, you might hang on to that. We're moving into our next entitled the Parkside at Desert.
Right.
And
Do you want me to give you a review of what's going on there? So essentially, Troy Wall is here if you have any questions for him. Phase 2 is built now. From what you're seeing there on the deal is basically back when the previous city manager was here, this project started. So Afton and I were not here at that point in time. The construction drawings, everything were gone through, and we probably, the way that the timeline that ought to happened here was within a certain time frame. They should have came in for final plat. We don't let them start construction until the first review of the final plat to make sure that it is in coherence with the construction drawings. And so basically this final plat that you're looking at right here has gone through the process. In your packet, you have all of the supporting documentation that our ordinances ask for. You've got staff comments and just as the planning commission. The planning commission's vote on this was in favor unanimously to accept this. So this is essentially, this is a formality once we're there. They're getting very close to having their final punch list. There's a couple small items. And as you see the plat there, the only really change that there was a kind of a remnant parcel up there on the top, the north east side, which the Wall Family LLC or whatever, I forget what your official name is, it's going to donate that to Tokerville City because we realized that there was something that was missed on the engineering plans, which was a retention pond for storm drain. It worked exceptionally well this last storm that happened, and the 2 inches we got. So pretty excited that the value engineering actually was of value. So it's basically sitting here before you. Like I say, Troy Wall is here for its Parkside at Desert Mountain. And if you have any questions for me or him, you're welcome to ask now. Yes. Those at this point, so before we will let them record the Mylar, they have to pay the Washington Conservancy District. There's the tortoise fees. There's a few things like that they have to do. And then their bond goes from a construction bond to a surety warranty bond for 1 year. And then but as far as all the utility companies and everything, everybody has signed off or have signed that they're good, including power. The only thing is Tokerville City had some power, and we have the engineer need to give us his final, if any, punch list. So we've gone through about 2 punch lists, I believe now, or 3, and yeah, they've done things that were not on the construction drawings. We hope that in the future that with Afton and myself and staff being here and other things, that we catch a lot of this stuff before it gets to that stage. But
so if I hear a motion to in full, or
you could do that. That's just kind of, that checklist is more just so that you guys had an idea of what happens before it is recorded. We will not record it as staff, but yes, you definitely could do that. Yep, definitely.
These are things that they go through. I look at different things on the plat too. And Darren, I might suggest that
Title report, and I have that. Yeah, it's in that packet right now. Yes.
you need to be gathering from each developer.
It's there.
notes to the city and designated easements. And I want to make sure that there's no liens or encumbrances that may interfere with the city's ownership of the
Right.
road.
So if you look at our ordinance on the final plat, it's not really a checklist. It's just items that are needed. And current title report, one of those definitely. And that is in there, I believe, under the CCNRs are there. The all of the different things. I think the title report, yeah, it's right there at the very bottom. Title report, Parkside Desert Mountain. And so, yeah. And if you look at my staff review, I and the checklist as well as the application checklist. So, change in effect was July. So it was on July 26, 2022.
We need to have any conditions added in that motion.
No, I don't think that there's any, I guess what Darren and myself are telling you, between staff in-house and the city attorney's office, we have, my office is the one who actually takes the plat over to the recorder's office and records, and I won't take it over there unless I've gone through every checklist item. I make sure that the tax clearances are done, so that we don't get in a situation where we record a plat and the conservancy district said, how come you haven't collected our impact fee? Or have them go and pay us the impact fee. We do all that kind of stuff. So no, I don't think there needs to be any additional conditions of approving it.
Do I hear a motion then to?
So moved.
A second?
I second it.
Okay, do we need to articulate that, Chuck, that we move that we approve business item F2?
This is my F2 final plat for the Parkside of Desert Mountain Phase 2 subdivision.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we move on to discussion of possible action on an ordinance amending the city's official zoning map to designate Firelight subject property as having an MPDO zoning. Afton, do you want to?
Sure, a
Help us
little
with-
background on this. The state legislature just requires that anytime you give zoning to somebody, when you do a zone change, you have to have an ordinance that accompanies it. They've already got their zone change, so this is just the ordinance that acknowledges that they have their zone. So,
I looked at it, just looked like a formality. Is that?
yeah,
what
it
that
is. It's
It's
just
essentially the
our-
same form we do for any zone change.
Right. And then you'll see one of these come through too, we need to get one in front of you for Wasatch Builders too, so.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve this?
I move that we approve ordinance.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so moved. Discussion of possible action on establishing conditions for commercial zones. Darren, Joey, either one of you two?
Well, I can just tell you the kind of the history behind us as we received this as a form in the form from, and there's been a lot of back and forth with both Bruce and Heath. And I think Bruce's last comments were he believes that something like this needs to be in place, just not maybe this one. But that was his comments in the, and Heath, you can correct me if I'm wrong. That's kind of a Reader's Digest version of. Okay.
He wants to draft it. Don't you guys?
Okay. Okay.
So, and the planning commission did not recommend this.
Yeah, it was no all the way around. There was.
I personally think it needs a little more time, and tonight to help represent the city. So I would move that we table this item, and I look for a second. Second.
So moved and second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Discussion of possible action on a preliminary site for the Firelight community. Comments on that from the council or from staff?
So what you have there before you, community center is exclusive to their old 55 and older community. And this is basically, there again, all of the supporting documentation. You can see there's quite a bit of documentation that we require. There's also my staff comments that give you direction to the code, but as far as the application as it sits right now, it is complete application. It's all the checklists as we have, like Keith Snow is talking about. I do, and my recommendations, I believe, this is under staff recommendations there.
And they are?
Well, it's a complete application. I'm not going to give you a yes or no, you should vote this way or that way. No, I'm not going to, I will tell you that it is a complete application and it meets the code. Staff review.
There's,
I'm looking for which one I can mark.
Can you pull the site plan up there?
there's one thing that I can put in from the planning commission side. We look at the commercial design standards. We look at a bunch of different things as the planning commission. And this submission is probably the best submission I've ever seen in the city. It meets every bit of the criteria on every level. So from planning commission side, it does.
Yep.
I'm basically looking for the pretty picture I saw that there's for the public to see.
Yep. Yep. There's also another map in there that has their proposed utilities, different things as we require in the ordinance. And now this is also to be mindful, this is a preliminary site plan, not a preliminary plat. Preliminary plat is when you're dividing property in a subdivision. So there are two different documents.
One of the things too that when I was saying about the commercial site plan, you just see their entryways, their sidewalks, all that kind of stuff. All that has to meet that. Like I said, they have met every one of the criteria that the city's put forth in our ordinances.
I think that we approve the.
Any question? And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We go on to calendar of events, and Rachel, do you want to cover that?
Sure. We have the farmer's market coming up this Saturday from 9 to noon. And we're thinking about free booths. We're having free booths this farmer's market. So if you have anything that you want to come and present and bring, feel free. We have a Tokerville City Events Committee meeting coming up on the 29th, and that is for anyone and everyone who'd like to be involved in the upcoming community events, which will be the trunk or treat, the turkey trot, and the Christmas lighting. We'll be discussing all of those. So, and which we will have further information after that meeting on these further items. That's all I got.
What about the cleanup?
Oh,
Tell us.
that one's not in my purview. So,
Our fall cleanup, we have this right here, it's when they do the dumpster days where they drop.
Oh, okay, we'll have the
Okay,
dumpsters out.
there it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the location. And we'll have all this on our social media and on our city website. Which I will say also, we are working on completely redoing the city website to make it more user friendly, have way more tabs that are actually useful, easier to navigate.
We're also gonna put it, for some of these events, so two things we're gonna add to it. One is an events, the city events tab, and the other thing we're gonna add is a development map that you can, an interactive development map. They have one in the city of Santa Clara. So you can actually click on it and you'll say, this is what's proposed in this area. This is what's before the city has.
So you're open to any ideas from the public as you develop that?
What's that?
Anyone from the public welcome to give you their thoughts and ideas?
Oh, we take all of the thoughts and ideas,
Okay.
all the time. So, yeah, if anybody has any ideas?
Well, there used to be a dumpster product, Brookville Heights, and had to
And you know where the other one was, is Anderson Junction. We heard from them that there used to be one at Anderson
and we
Junction.
can
There
fill
isn't.
them up.
So the heights and the.
They're always filled up.
We're actually checking on the price of one for Anderson Junction. I didn't know about the same thing about.
The heights always used to put up by the mailboxes.
Okay,
You know, we're growing city, but we need to have one.
yeah, for real. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks.
And then just a footnote, you might notice on the website then that the submission of an application or a letter of intent to be considered for mayor, the title is mayor.
Well, it'll be.
Just
Interim mayor.
Interim mayor. And the service would be through the year 2024?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
You'd be filling half of the term of what Mayor Ellsworth had. And then at the interim election, people can declare candidacy and run for the remaining 2 years.
okay.
So
And
one-
that has been, go ahead, Nick.
One clarification we need to make on this, so if anybody would like to submit a letter of intent for that, in the special city council meeting that we have, we open through September 30th. However, it has to be open for 2 weeks, and that notice didn't go out until Monday, so we extended it through the weekend to Monday, October 5th, so we have the full 2 weeks. So that's one for you.
Okay. It looks like we are having a closed session this evening to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, including any form of a water right. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So approved, so moved. That's, yeah.